Hi there, so just a few thoughts about Joshua, who's one of the main characters in the first part of the Old Testament. We first meet Joshua in Exodus chapter 17, where we see that Moses sends him out to battle the Amalekites, which are attacking the Jewish camp. So we see already at this stage that Joshua is introduced in full flow. He's obviously an important person under Moses' command. And later on, a little bit in Exodus chapter 24, we actually see this officially, that he's Moses' assistant, that he goes with Moses onto the mountain to get the stone tablets. And we also see in Exodus 33 that Joshua is the attendant of the tent of meeting that Moses has set up. So again, another important role. We see he's got an important position. And later on, as we read through the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible, we also see Joshua mentioned a handful of times in Numbers. Maybe the most significant, or at least the most famous, is when he is sent out as one of the 12 spies to conquer, well, not to conquer, but to explore the promised land. And he and Caleb of the 12 are the only 2 who come back full of confidence and trust that God will be able to give them such as land as that. And towards the end of Numbers, in chapter 27, and also at the end of the book of Deuteronomy, we see that this Joshua has then been chosen and commissioned by God to become Moses' successor. Moses makes this public so that the people know that it is actually Joshua who's going to be the person who's going to take them forwards into the promised land. So obviously an important person, an important role. And if we think about his name Joshua, well, Joshua means that Yahweh saves. Originally we see in Numbers 13:16 that Joshua's name was actually Hoshua, if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm not sure, but something like that, which I think is saves, or along from the word verb to save, and it's Moses that adds the Joshua, the Jehovah, the fact that it's God who's doing the saving. And interestingly, this Jewish name Yeshua, in English has become Joshua, via Greek translations of the New Testament, then transcribed into English. This Yeshua in the Old Testament became Joshua, but via the Greek in the New Testament has become Jesus. So we see that Joshua and Jesus actually originally had the same name, God saves. And actually, interestingly, in some languages, for example in Russian, the name Joshua has actually retained the Jesus aspect, and it's Isus Navin, which Jesus from Nun, son of Nun. So it's retained this connection to Jesus' name in some of these other languages, such as in Russian. So that's a bit of a brief introduction about Joshua. And moving on, we'll have a little overview of his book, Joshua, in the Old Testament. So see you then. Bye-bye.